Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, for this Nintendo News Minute. Now, we're doing this live, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. If you guys want to check it out, we're shooting for 10 a.m. I'm an hour late today because I had some stuff I had to deal with, but we're shooting for 10 a.m. 5 days a week. Tuesdays are up in the air because I might be on the Xbox Factor podcast periodically. So, stay tuned for that. Just make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all the places. You'll get the updates when I'm live. So, we got some fun news to talk about. I love doing this live because I get interaction from the chat. I got to say what's up to Becca, who's already here early. So, welcome on in. And if you're over on TikTok, I'm getting your chat popped out right now so I can see what you guys have to say. If you want your comments read on stream, you do need to be in the either Twitch or YouTube for me to showcase your comments. So, jumping into this thing first, we're starting with today, Nintendo, this day in history. All right. And we've had 3 days in a row of pretty big ones. Now this one is big, especially if you were in the UK, because on this day in Nintendo history in 2002, Super Smash Bros. Melee was released for the GameCube in Europe, and it introduced to the series Princess Peach, Bowser, Princess Zelda, Sheik, Ice Climbers, Ganondorf, Dr. Mario, Falco, Pichu, Marth, Roy, and Mewtwo. What's interesting to me about this is that on Monday we had Perfect Dark, and the GameCube version of Smash had the proximity mine from Perfect Dark as one of the items. There was a trophy, and I believe it was also an item in game, which gave me so much hope that Perfect Dark was going to be on the Nintendo GameCube. And then Microsoft purchased Rare, and all those dreams went out the window. So, kind of interesting how those are tied together. In 2012, there was another game released in Japan called, I'm gonna attempt to say this game, you guys, but please don't hold it against me. It was called Boku wa Koku Kensikayan, I think. Airport Hero 3D, Handia with JAL. That's the whole name of the game. That's crazy. It was released for the 3DS in 2012. So there you go. There's your today in Nintendo history. Now, jumping into the news. First up, I hope your sweet tooth is ready, because Nintendo is teaming up with Nekter to create Mario, Splatoon, and Kirby ice cream. I'm not going to be able to try this, I don't think, because it's not going to be anywhere near me. But if you happen to live in Londera Ranch, California, Phoenix, Arizona, or Cypress, Texas, you're going to have an opportunity from what it looks like. Let's dive into the article here. If you're not seeing the video, you're not seeing the Mario Kart ice cream is blue in a Mario Kart cup. Splatoon is yellow, and Kirby is, of course, pink. So here we go from Nintendo Life. As the summer is right around the corner, which means only one thing: ice cream. Yes, we all love a good scoop or two, and now you can have some ice cream based on your favorite Nintendo IP, including Mario, Splatoon, and Kirby. This comes via new collaboration with Nintendo of America and Nekter Juice Bar, the latter of which is bringing back its popular Scoop, SKOOP, frozen treats in the form of Nintendo-related flavors. There are 3 vegan-friendly options available to choose from in over 200 locations across the U.S., including Mario Kart Cookie Cruiser, Splatland's Birthday, and Kirby's Berry Dream. Here's a bit more info on each flavor. So, Mario Kart Cookie Cruiser, a collision of cookie dough, blue spirulina, and Nekter's own coconut cream blend. Kind of sounds delicious. Splatland's Birthday, it says a burst of color and cake batter flavor from coconut cream blend with turmeric and topped with natural sprinkles. And Kirby's Berry Dream, a dreamy combination of strawberry puree and Nekter's coconut cream blend. there is a chance to win a Nintendo Switch prize pack from Nekter, and there is a QR code you can scan if you want some more of the details. You might be able to scan this right from the video, but it may be too small. But again, you can head over to Nintendo Life and check the photo there. On top of that, it said, if that's not quite enough to whet your appetite, Nekter and Nintendo of America are also offering up 25 Nintendo Switch prize packs, which include a Switch OLED model console and download code for either Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 3, or Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Finally, Game Truck will also be on hand at 3 Nekter locations during June. So the Nekter locations are apparently I'm going to search and see if there are some near me. When I just glanced over this article, I assumed it was only in a handful of locations, but it looks like Game Truck, which isn't something I'm even familiar with. I'm not sure what it means. Probably, obviously something to do with Nintendo, kind of like the Nintendo Live or something like that. But it says, finally, Game Truck will also be on hand at 3 Nekter locations during June to host gaming opportunities for 3 aforementioned Switch titles. Full details and dates and locations below. So I assume it's going to be something similar to the way that Nintendo would show up in the mall, right? And you could try Mario Kart. You could try. I remember doing this in December, playing on a giant Switch. It was super cool. So that is happening. If you have a Nekter near you, go check out these flavors. Let me know either in the comments or hit me up on Discord if you're able to try them. I'm gonna check and see if there's any Nekters local to me. I've never even heard of it until now. So, but I mean, I gotta go. I gotta go eat some. I gotta go eat some Mario Kart ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So, moving on, the next 2 topics we're going to spend a little more time on. And chat, I definitely want to hear from you guys on this because they're kind of interesting, honestly. So Nintendo put out a patch for the 3DS, and I started doing a little bit of digging, and the reason for this is, well, according to gamesradar.com, it says after killing legal access to hundreds of 3DS games, now Nintendo's going even harder on illegal access. So this is from Games Radar. Says the 3DS eShop shut down earlier this year, cutting off legal access to hundreds of digital-only games. Now Nintendo is investing its resources into ensuring that those games are truly lost to time. A new 3DS update launched on May 22nd, promising further improvements to overall system stability, and minor adjustments have been made to enhance the user experience. That's what they always say. It's unclear whether any of these user experience enhancements are actually noticeable, but the homebrew community quickly realized that the famously simple method for jailbreaking your console no longer works with this after this firmware update. There's a tweet here that I had come across, and it says, this is from @MattGCN. It says, if you haven't hacked your 3DS yet, don't update it. It says, hello, 3DS update happened 11.17. That works. What works? Luma 3DS, probably most things if the console is hacked. What doesn't work? Literally all exploits on 3DS hacks guide. If you have CFW, feel free to update. If you don't have CFW and want to install CFW right now, do not update. You will be forced to wait. So this is one of these situations where, like, I don't jailbreak. I don't mess with homebrew stuff. It's not something that's really going to concern me, but the conversation continues to evolve, right? Because Nintendo has cut off access to thousands of games that will be lost to time, and they're no longer taking any money from them. Does that then make it okay to steal them? I would say no, but that doesn't stop a lot of people from doing it, right? And there's really no way to get these games anymore anyway. So it's such a gray area. But apparently, if you were thinking about doing this with any of your systems, you want to make sure not to not to update because you won't be able to mess with the homebrew at all. Firestone over on TikTok says someone will figure it out, and they usually do. Continuing with the article here, it says information around this update is currently evolving as modders work to figure out what changed. But for now, it seems the official update is safe to download if your 3DS is already hacked and updated with the latest custom firmware. It's unclear how or even if new custom firmware installs will work after this update. But the modding community obviously has a history of being resilient in the face of challenges like this. As with, say, jailbreaking an iPhone, hacking your 3DS is perfectly legal, but let's be real here. Most people hack their video game consoles in order to pirate games, which is definitely illegal. Dedicated hacking sites take measures to distance themselves from piracy, but homebrew apps that let you download pretty much whatever you want to your SD card are simple to find and even easier to use. This isn't the first 3DS system update to break homebrew efforts, and there's a decent chance it won't be the last. It's worth noting that Nintendo is well within its legal rights to take whatever action to stop piracy it deems fit. This update just serves as a frustrating reminder of the fact that so many notable 3DS games are now available only to pirates. So, again, it's such a gray area, and it's one of those things that the debate rages on all the time. Like, if we can no longer have access to these games, should we take them or not? And the chat is losing it right now, you guys. Yeah, that was have at it, have at it by all means. Firestone is cracking up. Nate is cracking up. Let's get his laugh emojis here. Yeah. So you know what? Becca's laughing too. Like, we're doing it live, right? We just keep on going. But yeah, it is one of those gray areas, and obviously, stealing's kind of black and white, right? But these games are lost. It's a frustrating thing because of that. Now you have guys like I believe it was the completionist ended up buying every single game on the 3DS and the Wii U eShop, so that and then donated those systems to a museum so that those games would not be lost forever. But that, again, that doesn't do much good for the rest of us. So yes, Nate, I had an autocorrect in real life, and shout out to Ganthet over on TikTok saying gray area that everyone does, and sent some gifts over there. Thank you so much for that. So last piece of news is probably going to get some people fired up in chat. I already know, based on who's here, that there's going to be some banter that takes place because of this. But let's jump into it here, because this is actually Sony calling out Nintendo, and I found it quite interesting. So this is from Nintendo Life. It says, random: Nintendo's brand momentum has been flat since 2018, says Sony. Interesting. Okay. So from the article, it says, when it comes to investor relations, big brands like to big themselves up. It's only natural, of course, for companies to attract more interest and therefore more money. It makes perfect sense for them to paint themselves in the best light possible. However, during Sony's most recent business segment meeting, its section on the game and network services, i.e. PS5, PSVR 2, and PlayStation Network, showcased a chart that frankly made us furrow our brows in collective confusion. And we're not alone either, as Stephen Totilio, I think, from Axios, has also voiced doubt over the validity of the data on Twitter. The chart in question measures the overall brand momentum of the three top dogs in gaming: PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox. Granted, the latter are labeled as brand B and brand C. respectively, but it's fairly obvious who Sony is referring to as provided by SIE Global Brand Tracker and Brand Momentum. As a gentle reminder, of course, SIE here refers to Sony Interactive Entertainment. So this is Sony's own internal data. Moving on here, and so you can see that if you're not watching, or you can't see the chart obviously, but basically it shows it shows that PlayStation is leading the category momentum, and with as high as a 73 on this chart, and Nintendo sitting around 56 when Sony was at its highest, and Xbox at 49. So we'll dig in a little more into the article here. It says, looking at the chart in detail, the PlayStation brand clearly enjoys the highest consistent level of brand momentum, with Nintendo in second place and Xbox trailing behind in third. PlayStation's momentum also seems to be the most variation over the course of 4 years, peaking at the launch of the PS5 around Q2 fiscal year 2020. Xbox seems a similar bump in momentum around the same time, given that the Series X and S launched just 9 days prior to the PS5. Yet the numbers are undoubtedly significantly lower. What's particularly perplexing, however, is how Nintendo's momentum has seemingly flatlined since 2018, despite periods of significant success and recognition within the industry, including the launch of Animal Crossing New Horizons in March 2020 during the start of COVID-19. Also highlighted by Chris Brandrick on Twitter. The arrival of the Switch OLED model in October of 2021, and the launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in November of 2022. So this chart seems kind of crazy. So I want to get into I want to pull some things from the chat before I give too many too many of my own, give my own thoughts here. So okay, yeah, here's, like I said, guys, this was going to be a little spicy. So Servant says, Sony ain't ever told a lie. Nintendo been flat since launch of the Twitch. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know Servant very well, but he's always exercising his right to be wrong. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Here's Nate says, LOL, why is Sony even talking about Nintendo? They want to sell their $100 million game to they want to sell their $100 million games to sell as well as Animal Crossing, right? And let's see. Here's Servant again. We got some console warriors, I think, in the chat right now. So since 2014, PlayStation clearly market leader. Nintendo is in their own market, and Xbox is in last place. That's interesting. It's like the narrative changes. Like Nintendo's not in the game market, like the chart shows, but they're I love this. This is so good. Let's see. Nate says Nintendo still sells games, whether or not Nintendo does their own thing, right? Let's see. Moving on here. Anybody else? Mulehorn Gaming. What's up, baby? Says Nintendo almost markets itself. Exactly. Yeah. So let's see. Nate says Xbox would be last since they came way after too. Yeah. So I don't see it, honestly. I mean, this data seems skewed with the way Nintendo has been selling. I mean, even looking at the related articles on the post here, Switch hardware sales now over 125 million. The PS2 and DS are still a ways off, but those are huge numbers, right? That's still, those are massive numbers, and all of the consoles from all of the current brands are outselling their last year's consoles, from my understanding. Their last generation consoles, from my understanding. So it seems weird to see that to say that it would flatline, because there's clearly been spikes. And I mean, if you follow the NPDs, like week after week. You've got games like Mario Kart 8 still in the top, usually in the top 5, which I mean, I guess if what doesn't make sense to me is Sony really that much above Nintendo with the with the strongest brand? That's I mean, I don't, and again, how do you even quantify that? That's another that's another question I have as well. And I'm sure there's a formula for it or whatever, but it, from the looks of things, I mean, let's see what some of these tweets say here. um so yeah, from Chris Bradrick, it says this is particularly odd metric from Sony. Nintendo in Q2 of 2020 at peak Animal Crossing hype, flatline momentum, according to this. Um, that yeah, it just seems uh, backwards, like that would be the case, So um, taking a few more from the chat here. Nate says Xbox getting killed doesn't bother me. The games I play are on everything. And Servant says, I would say the perception of Sony is stronger, but the Mario movie may close the gap since Sony is a brand outside of gaming. And then Crafty, let's see, this is from Crafty Becky. It says just companies finding ways to make themselves appear better than the other competition. Correct. Yeah. So it's interesting article nonetheless. If it works for Sony to help get their investors there, I mean, I get it. Like, get the bag, right? This is business. The more they the better the better the business is doing, the we should be seeing more games, we should be seeing higher quality games. It really hasn't been the case. A lot of companies have stumbled out of the gate as of recent, with the majority of the AAA games coming out have not ran well, like across all machines, including PC and everything. And so it gets that kind of stuff does get frustrating for the consumer, no question. You look at a game like Tears of the Kingdom, which apparently some of the articles I've been seeing, the game has been done since March of 2022, and they've only focused on polish since that date. And it shows. It shows for a game running on the lesser console. It 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 really runs very well. I'm sure there's some hiccups along the way. I haven't really noticed too many myself, and have just thoroughly enjoyed the game. I've recently picked up Jedi Survivor. I have yet to play it. I might start that today and just get a little taste for it. But I know there was day one patches coming out for that, or shortly after. Um, the release of the game, and they weren't small either. Apparently they were like 12 gig updates, but even that didn't necessarily fix everything. So it's, as the consumer, it can be frustrating dealing with these seeing these issues from these games that we are now dropping $70 on. So um Mulehorn. Let's see. We got a little more conversation going on in the chat here. Says I will. This is from Servant. It says I will say this. It's funny how a lot of games aren't hits as of late when Sony first party is taking a break from releases. Mule says it is clear that PlayStation has won the first party war, and Nate says not over Nintendo Mule. So, I mean, again, a lot of it has to do with like nostalgia, the kind of games you're really into. And honestly, for myself, I'm looking forward to the day that I got a little more time to dive into some of the PlayStation exclusives. Like, I've never played The Last of Us. I know I'm missing out there. I was texting with Hate Zero, which is going to be making a reappearance back on NPC very soon. And I texted him this morning about the Metal Gear Solid. There's a rumor about a collection coming out, as well as a remake of 3. So um so that those are some games I've never really experienced. I will be able to play those on Xbox as well, but I know they've kind of lived on the PlayStation, within the PlayStation home there. So Mulehorn says Nintendo is Nintendo. It's an apple in a basket of other oranges. I love it. Let's see. Um, Becca had to say this about The Last of Us, that it's she's never played, but it's a beautiful game. Nate and Mule going at it. LOL, their games for their own console. And then Servant with another terrible take, saying Tears of the Kingdom is just Dollar General version of Ghost of Tsushima. Wow. Wow. So there we go, you guys. Like chat is hot right now. I love you guys. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for listening to this Nintendo News Minute. Of course, if you're on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And we will see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Nintendo News Minute. Bye, everybody.